Obviously, there should have been an alert to send people to shelters as a result of incoming missiles, but this could continue to be a problem here. It'll certainly be a major question for military analysts. What is the state of Israel's missile interceptor stockpiles here, especially if we see this more and more? Jessica, Iran isn't launching large numbers of missiles, but it certainly is worrying on the ground here that they're getting through.
Certainly. All right. Oren Lieberman, thank you so much for that. And we are joined now by the Senior Director of the Atlantic Council's Geoeconomics Center, Josh Lipsky. Josh, good to have you. Thanks for being here. Okay, let's broaden out for just a second. We just got the full report there from Oren in Israel. The Trump administration at the same time saying that it's going to temporarily ease sanctions on 140 million barrels of Iranian oil that's already at sea. That equals about 1.5 days of global oil consumption. And again, it's also easing sanctions on Iran. Help people understand that, and does that strategy make sense to you?
Thanks, Jessica. Good to see you. And there is a circular logic to it, because on the one hand, we're bombing a country, and then on the other hand, we're easing sanctions on that same country. And we should point out these sanctions on Iranian energy have been in place since the Clinton administration, since the mid-1990s. So this is a significant waiver. It is a temporary one, only through mid-April. So that's important to note. And the argument here the Trump administration is making is that they will do anything to calm global energy markets. The problem is the oil is not significant enough to really have an impact on the energy markets. A lot of it is already being purchased and sold despite the sanctions that the U.S. had in place. And so the efforts aren't really going to make a big dent in bringing prices down, which is the primary concern. They will give Iran a little extra cash, although we should also say, because Iran's still cut off from the global financial system, it's not that easy for them to access the cash. So it's all complicated when you're bombing a country and then giving them access to billions of dollars at the same time.
Yeah, and so what kind of message do you think that does send to Iran about how their pressure campaign's working?
Well, I think the message Iran has received over the past 3 weeks and is shown through their actions is that they realize they have what I would call asymmetric economic leverage over the rest of the world, and that's through the Strait of Hormuz choke point. They know that people, not just in the U.S., but around the world, do not want higher gas prices. They don't want higher airline prices, and we're already seeing that trickle in. We've got fertilizer shortages. This one choke point has ripple effects all over the world, so Iran is leveraging everything they can because they can't fight back militarily in a significant way, despite what we just saw in Israel. They can't really compete with the U.S. and Israel, but economically they can cause pain, and their gamble is that they can cause enough pain to get the U.S. and Israel and others to relent, and so the administration is trying to find ways to ease that economic pain.
And Goldman Sachs is suggesting that these higher oil prices could be here to stay really through the end of next year. There's no clear timeline on when or how the war is going to end, of course. We're still sorting that out. We're going to see. But once the war does end, what does the recovery look like for the oil sector? And how long is that tail?
Well, this is an incredible global energy shock, and I'm not sure markets have fully priced in just how significant it is. If you take a step back and think for a moment, we have 51% of global oil currently involved in open armed conflict and 56% of global gas production. We haven't seen that since World War II. So the scale of this is so significant because it's not just war in the Gulf, it's layered on top of the conflict in Russia that's already 4 years old. And Russia is, of course, an energy importer. So here we have a situation where we have a global energy crisis. And even if there's a ceasefire in Iran, I think what you hear from a lot of shipping companies and a lot of corporates is that prices are going to stay higher for the long term because the risk in Hormuz stays high, even if there's a ceasefire going forward. And that means that they have to pay more to cross, and we all have to pay more at the pump. And so gas prices, which were supposed to be low, and oil barrels, which were selling at $60, $70, they're going to be at 80, 90 for the foreseeable future. And that's not something companies and people were predicting even a month ago.
Yeah. And I know you were just in Prague and you were speaking with business leaders there, finance ministers, central bankers.